A stranger grabbed me at a club. So I called my fiancé for help. He told me to apologize instead. When my coworker, Talia, begged me to come out for her 30th birthday, I almost said no out of habit. My fiancé, Arlo, hated when I went anywhere without him, but he never said it directly. He preferred shrugs, cold silences, and do whatever you want in a tone that guaranteed I'd pay for it later. So I asked 3 times if he was okay with it. Each time he said, fine. I wore a simple black dress that hit above my knee. Nothing extreme, just something that made me feel like myself again. At the club, Talia and the other women from work pulled me onto the dance floor. For the first time in months, I wasn't checking my phone or worrying about what mood would be waiting for me at home. I was just laughing, dancing, and feeling normal. Then a man came up behind me and grabbed both my wrists. Before I could react, he forced my hands onto his chest and shoved himself against me like it was some kind of joke. His friends stood nearby, filming and laughing. My brain went blank for half a second. Then I yanked away and shoved him hard. Don't touch me. Talia jumped between us, screaming at him while a bouncer rushed over and dragged him out. By then, my wrists were already red and my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I went into the bathroom and locked myself in a stall. Talia knocked softly and asked if I wanted her to drive me home, but I still believed the man I was supposed to marry would care if I told him I was scared. So I called Arlo. He answered, sounding annoyed. I told him what happened and asked if he could pick me up because I didn't want to wait outside alone. There was a long silence. Then he asked, "What are you wearing?" I thought I'd heard him wrong. So, what? What are you wearing? I told him. He exhaled sharply and said he knew something like this would happen, that going to a club dressed like that was asking for attention. I stood there in that bathroom trying to process the fact that I had just told my fiancé a stranger put his hands on me, and his first response was blame. I said, "A man grabbed me." He said, "Maybe you shouldn't put yourself in those situations." I said, "I asked you if it was okay to go." He snapped. I said, "Fine, because if I say no, you act like I'm controlling." Talia drove me home. Arlo was sitting in the dark on the couch, arms crossed, looking more irritated than concerned. He looked me up and down and said my dress was too short and I had disrespected our relationship. When I showed him the marks on my wrists, he barely glanced at them before saying they could be from anything, and I was exaggerating to make myself look like the victim. That was the moment something in me went cold. Then he gave me an ultimatum. He said if I couldn't admit I was wrong and apologize, maybe we shouldn't get married. I stared at him for a long time. 8 months earlier, he had promised to protect me. Now he was demanding an apology because another man decided he had a right to touch me. So I said, "Okay." He looked relieved, thinking I was about to give in. Instead, I pulled off my engagement ring and set it on the coffee table. "You're right," I said. "We shouldn't." His face changed instantly. Suddenly he was backtracking, saying he was just worried that I was taking it too far. But it was too late. I finally saw the truth. Worried people come get you. They don't blame you. I packed a bag and left for Talia's apartment. 3 weeks later, the club posted that they had identified the man who grabbed me. He had done the same thing to 4 other women that night, and charges were being filed. I sent the post to Arlo from a new number with one message. "This is what a real threat looks like. You were supposed to be safe.